Hey, what's happening, guys? We are about 1 month away from the start of the NBA season, only 31 days. We had free agency, we had trades, we had the draft last week, a lot to go over. We touched on some trade ideas a little bit earlier in the week, but we're going to go on to free agency now. And if trades and draft picks come up, so be it.
Yeah, a lot of things have happened since we last talked. I mean, we might as well start with Bogdanovich, who, when we first made this video, or when we made this video last week, looked like he was on his way to Milwaukee. Not so fast. Now looks like he's on his way to Atlanta.
Yeah, it was an interesting situation. I'm still, and part of me hasn't looked at it closer because I didn't even really want to just get into it. I still don't know 100% what exactly happened.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it sounds like I don't know exactly what happened. I haven't gone into great detail about it. But for me, it basically sounds like Bogdanovich didn't sign off on going to Milwaukee.
Yeah, I heard that. Then I heard he really talked to Giannis and he really wanted to play there. So, I've heard conflicting reports. Obviously, they're looking into Milwaukee tampering, which is, it's kind of dumb because it seems like it's not a rule that's followed a lot. So again, I've almost, out of my own frustration being a Bucks fan, haven't wanted to figure out what the answer is till I know for sure.
Well,
Just thinking it'll cause me pain to even think about it.
seems like the only explanation is that he decided he didn't want to go there. Otherwise, the trade would have gone through.
Or he got scared off because they were talking about tampering and he didn't want to mess with it. I mean, I have no idea what happened.
I don't think that would affect him at all.
So I don't think so either. I have no idea.
Where have you heard that he talked to Giannis? I haven't heard that anywhere. That's
really, I keep hearing that a bunch, that him and Giannis are texting and they want to play together and stuff like that. And I was like, all right. I don't know what's true and what isn't. And like I said, I haven't wanted to almost know. So I've been trying to stick my head in the sand on that one specific move.
Yeah, I'm gonna believe that, he basically said he didn't want to go there. And he got a really, really good deal in Atlanta. I mean, he's getting paid a ton of money. So
yeah, Atlanta's overpaying a bunch of people now.
Yes, they are.
So who do they think they are? The Hornets?
Yeah, good one.
Thought the Hornets courted the market on overspending on people. I love what Max Kellerman said last week, and I brought the same to you. MJ is the Michael Jordan of bad owners. He is literally the greatest at being the worst owner GM that there is out there.
No doubt about it. I mean, wow, are they making crazy moves?
So, gut instincts, name some teams that you think have gotten better, you feel like have won. We kind of chatted real briefly about this. It seems like a lot of teams are just making stupid moves just to make moves, but it's not going to amount to much. Who do you specifically think got better?
Atlanta. I think they overpaid and, are signing random guys, Rondo, Bogdanovich, Chris Dunn. But I think all those guys help them. I mean, they all fit needs. This is a team that needed to shore up their backcourt, especially defensively. Their front court is all of a sudden pretty good. You got John Collins, Clint Capella, and you got their number one draft pick, Ngakoue, who is probably the best big man in the draft. Very unselfish, a Bam Adebayo type player. So I don't think the Hawks are anywhere close to winning, but they're on the up and up. Right now, I kind of put them on the level as those young teams in the West now after making these moves. Rondo is a nice veteran presence, and Chris Dunn, I think, is a real nice addition for them. I mean, he obviously didn't pan out as a top 5 pick in Chicago, but you put him next to Trae Young or off the bench, that's a perfect fit for him. How do you feel?
I mean, the Hawks definitely got better. I think they can compete for a lower seed in the East this year in the playoffs. And I love the Rondo signing for them because I look at a guy like Trae Young, who's instant offense, and the tutelage that maybe you could get. Rondo to me is almost like a coach on the court right now with a guy like that. Teaching, Young has a ton of assists already, but to get even better at running an offense. I thought that was a great sign for them. Even though, if it's me, I'm Rondo, I'm sticking with another one of those LA teams to get myself one more ring and trying to get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if one ring is going to get him in or not get him in the Hall of Fame.
A third ring, though? If he went to the Clippers, third ring, third team?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that. I think if he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, he's going to be on the Hall of Fame. I almost feel like if he's, obviously winning more rings could only help him, but you never know the motivation behind that. He's making good money. I like the deal for Atlanta.
Yeah, I think, we didn't even bring up Gallinari, which they definitely seem to overpay it right there. They're paying guys too much money. But when you haven't been good in so long, there is something to be said for at least giving a reason for the fans to come back out and being competitive. And while a team like the Bucks, the Lakers, the Clippers, the Nuggets, going to the playoffs is no big deal, if you're the Hawks, like being the 6th seed and challenging the 76ers in the playoffs or something like that would be a big deal.
Yeah, I really don't get the Gallinari signing. I did forget about that. Overpaid him. I mean, he just doesn't fit. I feel like they got to have a move coming. Like maybe Collins is gone. Now they have a glut of front court guys. When you had Capella and the first round draft pick, I could see them dealing Collins.
I would think they'd want to build around the Collins Trae Young combination, but possibly. I mean, I love Johnny Collins. Honestly, I like John Collins so much. And the fact that I hadn't thought about him in so long, I was just psyched to hear his name when you brought him up.
He's definitely been on like the rumor mill for a while now. So I don't
Okay.
think he's like untradeable from their eyes.
I got you. What were some of the worst things that you thought came out of this? Like just worst signings?
From Atlanta or just overall?
Just overall. Like obviously, I think Gallo, they obviously way overpaid for him.
Yeah, but I don't get the Gordon Hayward signing. Like I just don't get it. When he, I know he had a player option for big money coming into this year and he declined it. And I was like, what are you thinking? I thought no way he was going to get more money. Clearly he got more money. A bunch of teams interested in him. New York, Charlotte. Like, I just don't get it. I mean, I was texting you about this. I have no discredit to him. He's been a very good NBA player, but that's what he's been at his best. A very good NBA player at his best, mind you. He's getting paid like superstar money. It just makes no sense to me. I just don't get it.
I think it's a bad loss for the Celtics, though.
I don't know. It seems like they had too many guys that all wanted the ball and too many guys to do the same thing.
For me, like they played better when they had him around. They had another facilitator. I still think like Tatum and Brown, Kemba, Marcus Smart. I don't think you just picture missing him. I do like the Tristan Thompson ad for the Celtics.
Yeah, for sure. I like the Tristan Thompson acquisition for sure. I know there was a lot of talk that like in a sign and trade, Indiana was, offering like Miles Turner and a deal for Hayward. Wouldn't have minded that. I do like the Tristan Thompson signing a lot for Boston. Like he fits perfect there.
Yeah, they don't need offense because Tristan Thompson he's a minus offensive player. They don't need that though. They need rebounding, a little bit of defense, and some effort and some grit and some toughness, and he brings all that.
Yeah, so I thought that deal was crazy, like crazy. I think Joe Harris is way overpaid. I mean, a lot of these guys are just getting way overpaid. And I know that comes with the territory. Like, NBA players in general probably make more than most people would like them to make. But just in even terms of NBA players, like these guys are overpaid. And couldn't you see in 2 years, like the Nets begging to get rid of Joe Harris? Maybe not in that case because they need shooting behind Durant, et cetera, or Durant, Kyrie, and, maybe Harden. But that's just a big time overpay, I think. What about you?
I mean, I like Joe Harris on the Nets. That is a lot of money for him, right? Because he's the perfect kind of player that they need. Somebody who doesn't need the ball in their hand. He stretches the floor. You have to guard him. He can't go sit out on the 3-point line. You have to respect him. And when you got, as currently constructed, Durant and Kyrie, I mean, Kyrie wants to dominate the ball nonstop. So he's a good fit for them, but that is a lot of money.
He just found himself in the perfect spot at the perfect time.
Yeah.
He was already on that team that he was becoming a free agent. They need him there, and they had to overpay him. So good for him.
I like Christian Wood as a player. Him now going to the Rockets, that doesn't really do much for me, especially since we don't know who the Rockets are at this point. We still kind of I'm surprised Harden is still there. And I know that they were quoted as saying, we're fine to be uncomfortable with this, but is that the position you want to be in?
I mean, it's admirable. I'll say that. A lot of times, especially in the NBA where the players hold all the power, like even you said, you're surprised Harden's still there. Like, clearly they're not just going to give Harden for pennies on the dollar. And at the end of the day, they'll have to deal him because, the players hold all the power, and that's the problem. But little standoff never hurt anyone. The thing about Christian Wood, for me, it's not a needle mover for me, especially because we don't know about Houston. I like Christian Wood as a player. And Detroit's another one of these teams. Like, what the hell
are you doing?
I just don't get it. Like, they fall in line with Charlotte to me. Like, I don't get why you're signing Jeremy Grant, Plumlee, Okafor, Plumlee and Grant to big money deals. I'd rather have Wood than any of those guys for a rebuilding team.
So if I look at the Pistons, what they're doing, it reminds me a lot of what the Vikings and Lions and Bears have done a lot over the past 2 decades, or maybe even 3 decades. They sign Packers players because they were in the playoffs. And it's like they want that experience, but they recut those guys for a reason. They weren't helping us win. So now you're giving like I like Jeremy Grant, but 60 million over 3 years, 60 million.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like it just I don't get it for a team that's not close at all.
Not even close. They are not a playoff team. They have nothing to build on. You have old players there. Now you're trying to bring in these. I don't get it. You're making moves just to make moves, and they're not good moves.
Agreed.
But I do like Christian Wood. I think that's a nice. It's hard to talk about Houston because we just don't know who they are right now. When you said you respect the stubbornness, I was like, I get that. I could be a stubborn guy. I can absolutely understand respecting the stubbornness. But it reminds me of like when your woman's mad at you and you're trying to be stubborn, not pretending like you're not just going to give in 2 days later. Like, wouldn't your life just be easier if you just stopped being stubborn quicker?
Okay, that's a good analogy. I don't disagree with you. Yeah, I mean, it's all power play. Like, yeah, I don't disagree with that logic at all. Speaking of guys that like got overpaid, in my opinion, Marcus Morris, man, 4 years, 64 million. It's just, I don't know. He's a role player. I don't think he's worth 16 million a year.
Probably not. I like Marcus
rate,
Morris, you know that, but it's a nice paycheck. He was going to get it from somebody though.
Like he was. I mean, I just don't see it. Like I don't see him as a needle mover like that. I don't know. Do you?
Well, I like a guy like that on my team. And now it's weird to say this because the Clippers folded like a cheap suit this year, but he's the kind of guy I want in my foxhole when it comes time to make serious moves. He has a little dog in him. Again, it didn't play out this year, but to me, that was more about the whole Clippers team not wanting to be there. But it's a lot of money. No questions about it. I mean, that's a big time deal. Probably more than I would have wanted to give him. Like if I would have liked Morris on the Bucks, but if I saw us sign him to that deal, I'd be like, dude, that's
right. I know. That's what I'm saying. So a kind of move, I wanted to get your opinion on this one. Montrezl Harrell. I feel like a lot of people are talking shit about this move, saying it's like, giving Harrell shit, saying it's not going to do anything for the Lakers. I don't hate it at all for them. Like he's just another body with energy. I don't hate it at all. Can put up numbers when AD and or LeBron rest during the regular season. We feel like he fits real well with Schroeder on the second unit. What's your take?
I like it myself too, and I get the problem with Montrezl Harrell is he's not an actual five, right? He's like 6'7". You know, they can list him at 6'8" all they want. He's probably only about 6'7", and he struggles defensively against Jokic and Nurkic and guys like that. But here's the thing, like you have Anthony Davis, one of the top defensive players in the league. You can run Montrez at the 4, run Davis at the 5 technically, and then Davis can still get out in the wing. He's a good jump shooter. He can shoot the 3 decently. That Montrez can still play up the lane when they want to play together. He barely got paid. He didn't take much money in stretch. Like I think the recency bias of remembering how poor all the Clippers played in the bubble is too big right here. Like that team just didn't want to be there. And Harrell's a guy who brings energy. I liked it.
I like it too. It's so funny. 2 years, like 20 mil or 19 mil is not barely getting paid. And that's just what it is nowadays. What was I just about to say there? You brought up a
good you're telling me you would rather give like Jeremy Grant got 60 million over 3 years, but Montrezl Harrell got paid too much? Come on, no way.
Yeah, I agree. So one thing that's interesting about the Lakers, though, like now no Dwight Howard or JaVale McGee, like Harrell cannot fill that role. So they need to sign a backup center, in my opinion.
Or Marc Gasol.
Yeah, good point. Completely forgot about him, who actually fits really well with them. I mean,
yeah, like they said, when they got an older defensive guy, like Gasol's still a smart player. He's not fast anymore. He's not the offensive guy you need him to be, but he can still play some defense. And when you got a guy, they can play the matchups right here and, run them out there back and forth. And AD can still play the 5 if you want to go small.
For their team, I feel like if I could choose between Dwight, JaVale, and Marc Gasol for the Lakers, it's close, specifically between Dwight and Gasol, but I think I'd go Gasol.
What I saw a couple days ago that Gasol had narrowed it down to Toronto and LA, and I just wanted to be like, bro, get the ring, live in a warm climate. I mean, no offense. I hear Toronto's a great city. I've never been, but it's cold. It's up there. Now you got to play your games in Tampa to start the year. Like, go to LA, take a 50-50 shot at a ring and just have some fun, man. Get that ring on your resume, get the money, and live in LA and not Canada.
Yeah. I mean, there's never anything wrong with living in LA. Another one that I messaged you about, I wanted to ask you. This seems like another big overpay. Like if this team were contending, I could get it, but Bertans for 80 mil. I mean, you're paying him like he's basically like your second franchise guy, like not your number one guy, but your number two.
Well, here's the thing. Bertans is that good. He's the best player in the NBA, no doubt about it. Best shooter of all time, no question about it. Steph Curry can't even hold a candle to. No, I love Davis Bertans, but it does seem like a big money.
Okay, I want to know your honest opinion of that because that is a lot of money for a guy who really the Spurs let him go for nothing.
Yeah, I mean he can shoot it, but that is a big contract. So 5 years, $80 million.
Spurs only let him go because Marcus Morris said that he was gonna Marcus or Markieff, I can't remember, said that he was gonna sign there and then backed out on it. But in order to get the money to sign him, they had to trade Bertans. What a screw job.
Yeah, I think it was Marcus. It's a lot of money, no doubt about it. A lot of money. He's 20 years old. He's just entering the prime of his career. I like him on pretty much any team, but that's a lot of money.
I'll say this though, he fits perfectly with prime John Wall, and Beal as a three that can space the floor. I mean, if John Wall's healthy, he fits perfectly. I will say that.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised we still got Wall on the Wizards. Westbrook and Harden both on the Rockets is currently constructed. We still have more action to come.
Oh, yeah.
At least one of those dudes on the move. At least one, if not all three.
For sure. Speaking of guys on the move, I wanted to ask you about. I think the Serge Ibaka signing is real good for the Clippers. I'm sure you agree with that. And also in the West, and you can speak on both these, Jay Crowder to the Suns. I like that move.
I do think the Ibaka signing, to me, he's kind of a lateral move with Montrezl Harrell, but he might be a better fit because he can shoot the three and he's bigger and he can defend. So I thought it was a nice move for the Clippers. I'm an Ibaka fan. I would have loved to have seen Ibaka on the Milwaukee Bucks. That didn't really ever seem like it was something that was going to happen, but I would have been happy to see that one. And the addition of Jay Crowder to the Phoenix Suns, look, Jay Crowder doesn't move the needle, but I thought that was a great ad for them because it brings in another veteran presence along with Chris Paul to run out there with Book and Ayton.
Jeremy Grant getting 3 years, $60 million. Doesn't it seem like Crowder's getting under half that? It just makes no sense to me. Also Rodney Hood, 2 years, $21 million. Why is he getting more than Montrezl Harrell? I just don't get it.
People desperate for guys that can shoot the three ball, and I don't understand it myself either.
He sucks.
Again, you're right. It's a little bit too much. I do like the Marcus Morris there, but Ibaka, 2 years, $19 million?
Steal.
The exact same that Harrell got. That's weird when it works out that way.
Yeah, it is. I want to talk about your Bucks, though, because they made a bunch, a flurry of moves, all minor moves. Obviously after the Bogdanovich deal got canceled or whatever you want to call it, they signed a bunch of guys. Augustine, Portis, Bryn Forbes, who I like.
I like Forbes too.
And who is the other guy? Torrey Craig. So all four of those guys who should play minutes for Milwaukee. They also re-signed Pat Connaughton, also thought he was overpaid. Now they still have DiVincenzo. So they're, again, very deep. What do you think about, when stuff happens like this, DiVincenzo now knowing that he was traded and now he's not traded, he has to go back to Milwaukee? That's got to be just, a weird experience,
Sure. I do oftentimes think, it could be overblown. Because, if you're a player in the NBA, these dudes are moving all the time. It's a business. They know that.
They know that, but, at the end of the day, it's got to be difficult to, go back to a team. You were traded. You know what I'm saying? And, I feel like anything else in life, it depends on the guy, right? Some guys.
He might be happy.
He might be, yeah. He might be happy. It just depends on the person. It's just an interesting dynamic because these guys are people too. We always talk about that. Oh, wow. For the Ravens, Ingram and Dobbins tested positive.
All right, well, locking Gus Edwards this week. I look at it this I liked what we did to get Bogdanovich for that hot minute that it seemed like it was going to happen. But I don't think Bogdanovich is leaps and bounds better than what Dante DiVincenzo can be. Like many people, he did not play well in the bubble. He showed some signs the last couple games against Miami. He's an excellent defender. He could, increase his ability to shoot the three ball a little bit. So again, at the end of the day, I'd rather have Bogdanovich, but let's not pretend like Bogdanovich equals winning because the Kings suck. I mean, it's not they have Fox and they have other good players there. It's not like they were winning a bunch of games.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I'd rather have Bogdanovich, but
Me too.
but I'm a big DiVincenzo fan. I think
Yes, you
Bogdanovich
are.
has higher upside. But I like DiVincenzo a lot, and I'm with you. Like, I don't think it's, the Bucks are like, I don't think Bogdanovich is going to be the reason they were or were not going to win the title.
So the Bucks got better. They didn't
Bucks
get
got better.
drastically better though.
Did
Right?
they
They
get
got
enough
a little
better?
better.
Is the question.
I don't know. We'll see. And I mean, I heard somebody say this the other day, and it's true. It's like, did Giannis's jump shot get better? Because that's something that's going to be hard to win. Is Chris Middleton? Can Drew Holiday do what Eric Bledsoe couldn't do? And that is play well in the playoffs consistently. Because you traded an excellent, point guard defensively. Both of them were, but like Bledsoe just continuously comes up small in the playoffs. If Drew Holiday can play like what he does in the regular season in the playoffs, that's actually a really big upgrade because Bledsoe's been trashed the last 2 years.
For sure. And Forbes is good and can shoot. And Augustine is an upgrade from George Hill.
I can get the argument both ways on that one. It's possible they overpaid for Augustine or they were just so excited because he played really well against them in the bubble.
That's what I was
I like
say.
DJ Augustine.
They got real juice at how well he played against them. Definitely an overpay, but I mean, I think he's slightly better than George Hill.
I mean, he played a lot better than Eric Bledsoe did in the bubble.
Yeah, he did.
So, I mean, that's something right there. And I'm with you. I like Bryn Forbes. Like, I quietly went back and I was reading up on him and looking over some numbers. That guy can shoot the three ball real well. So, I think that's right under the radar type.
Yeah, he's a perfect fit, man. I agree with you wholeheartedly there.
So, yeah, again, Milwaukee got a lot better, but they got better, but I don't know how much better. Is it enough to make a difference? I don't know. We all have recency bias, right? Like we just watched them play terrible, but there was a lot of teams that played terrible in the bubble. We'll see what happens this year.
Yeah, and again, like always, only one team can win the title because you also got the Clippers and the Lakers and all these teams. So I just can't wait for NBA. It's exciting.
I thought the Lakers did a great job. They didn't say stagnant. They added Marc Gasol, Montrezl Harrell, Wesley Matthews to replace Danny Green. You had Dennis Schroeder. I thought they had an excellent offseason so far, and they are, to me, are a prohibitive favorite to repeat.
Yeah, I mean, we are huge Schroeder fans. Love that move for them. They got LeBron James. Anthony Davis now has a ring. I feel like the best is yet to come from him.
Yeah. So for me, when you look at, especially with the loss of Klay Thompson, I look at the NBA this year is I give the Lakers a 50% chance to win it, and I give the field a 50% chance to win it.
So what about the Clippers?
They're part of the field. I mean, they're a good part of the field. We'll see what another season. Like, there is a small part of me is like, can you ever come back when things start getting tough this year? I mean, do you guys fold again, or do you rise above? So they're part of that field, and they're a good part of that field. They're one of the top couple teams in the field, but I still put them in the field.
Also interested to see, what if they get Westbrook?
I mean, that's possible. I don't know that Westbrook is the add there to make them better necessarily.
Do you think he makes them better?
I mean, what do they give up? I mean, how are they getting Westbrook on their team?
I mean, they're not giving up Kawhi or Paul George.
Okay, then how do they get him? I mean, what are they giving up? Who do they have?
What if they could deal Paul George for Westbrook? Although they would never do that because Kawhi, obviously wanted Paul George.
And now, where's your three-point shooting coming from, right?
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, as much as hard as I am on Paul George, you do need to defend him on the three-point line in the regular season at least. Maybe not in the playoffs because he usually hits the side of the backboard, but still.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook, you don't.
No, Russell Westbrook is a terrible three-point shooter. So, I mean, I'm still of the mindset, I don't know. I could see him in New York, but that doesn't seem to be happening. Maybe if you're Charlotte, with the drafting of Ball and something like that, maybe you have the pieces to get Russell Westbrook over there, because I know MJ would love that.
Yeah.
And Westbrook, Hayward, and Terry Rozier, along with some of those young pieces, I think you could be a playoff team then.
I feel like Rozier would have to be gone in any one of those packages.
Probably, but are you losing? I mean, I'm already thinking you're getting rid of Ball or something like that. I don't know how you're going to make this move or what you're going to do. But you already got Terry Rozier, Devontae Graham, and Ball. And you probably only need 2 of those dudes.
Yeah, definitely Rozier would be the one that would be dealt in my mind.
If that's, would you do that though? Because for me, like, who would you rather have, Graham or Rozier? I want Graham.
Oh, for sure. Like, but I don't think Graham. I think Graham and Ball are untradeable for them. Like,
Okay, so
literally,
that move's probably not happening
unless you're talking about like they're not tradable for a guy like Westbrook, who's like we've used this term, but like seems like he's getting passed around like a punt these days. Like, I don't feel like Charlotte's going to give up their future to get him.
Well, look, man, you got to remember who's running the team, what kind of deals he makes. He just paid Gordon Hayward $100 million a year.
That's true. I mean, if I'm the Hornets, if I'm the Rockets and I can get Ball for Westbrook straight up, I'm doing that.
Oh, hell yeah. And I don't think the Rockets would. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? I have absolutely no idea. We got more moves yet to come. Anything else? I mean, we got a bunch of things. We got Beasley back to the Timberwolves. He seems a little bit overpaid at $60 million over 4. Paul Millsap, blah. Pirtle, blah. Aaron Baines is a nice replacement out in Toronto, but that's not going to move the needle for you. We discussed Tristan Thompson and Crowder already. Favors back to the Jazz, blah.
A lot of blah.
Yeah, there's nothing in here. Again, I like the signing of Wesley Matthews for the Lakers. A DN3 guy. He does not need the ball in his hand. He's a decent 3-point shooter, and he plays good defense.
Agreed.
Michael Green to the Nuggets. Fine. Mo Harkless to the Heat. That's a nice role player for them to add. Nothing special right there. Jeff Green to the Nets.
I like it.
Man, he's 34 already. He has been around for a while.
Yeah, he was with Durant on Seattle.
Avery Bradley to the Heat. Another nice role player ad for them.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. They went from Crowder to Bradley. And they paid Bradley or they paid Myers Leonard. I'm surprised they didn't keep Crowder around. He seemed like a real good fit there.
He didn't want to do a 1-year deal. And with the Giannis free agency and these teams that think they have a chance for him, only wanted guys around like that on 1-year deals, and he was unwilling to do it.
Okay, that makes sense.
So,
and Bradley's getting half that.
I mean, yeah, 11.6 over 2 versus 30 over 3.
Right. I
mean, it's a big enough difference for you. So, what move I did like? Seth Curry to the 76ers, I thought was a great move.
I agree. I love that move for Philly. And, yeah, I mean, I also think Danny Green.
That was a team desperate for shooting.
Yeah, I also think Danny Green's a nice move for them. We talked about him a bunch already. We don't need to get into it like all on this video, but like he had a bad year last year. He's a nice fit in Philly.
Also, somebody like we might vary how we see it a little bit, but like this guy's been there and done that. You don't have a lot of that in Philly. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, these guys don't have like a plethora of quality playoff experience that's come out positively. Danny Green, say what you want about him. He's been a champion 2 years in a row.
I don't even think he's that good, but I'll say this, like his value going into last year was a lot more than it is going into this year. It's a nice buy low for Philly.
Big deal right here. Nerlens Noel to the Knicks.
Hmm.
No. Plumlee, 3 years, 25. That's a lot.
That just
Jeff Teague, backup point guard for Boston. That's all right. Don't mind that.
It's fine. I think that's what he is at this point.
The Dwight Howard thing was weird.
Yeah, it is really weird.
Oh, he's like, oh, I'm going back to LA, and then like 10 minutes later, sorry, no, I'm not.
Yeah, that is weird.
We got Melo sticking on the Blazers. Again, I like the Bryn Forbes thing. Back to the Bucks. Burks to the Knicks. I mean, we talked about this a little bit already. Like, what are some of these teams doing when they make some of these signatures? Like, Knicks, what are you doing? Just random signings of Alec Burks and Austin Rivers. It's all that they can do these days. It's sad that the largest media market in the world can't get anybody of real stature to show up.
I think they're another one of these teams just trying to sell out for next year.
Maybe. I mean, nothing they've done's made sense for a long time. So
No, not that anyone's going to come there still, but
I think like if you're a
don't.
Knicks fan, it's just got to be so frustrating. And every time somebody says the NBA is rigged, I'm like, if the NBA is rigged, like the Knicks would get a franchise player somehow.
It's also like I feel like the lure of New York like isn't what it used to be simply because of like social media. Like you can be exposed no matter where you are. Like back in the day, I feel like if you know New York was the place to be, but anywhere's the place to be now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do not understand how you pay Myers Leonard more than Montrezl Harrell or Serge Ibaka. I do not understand that.
I just don't get it either. I don't get it.
I mean, the Bucks signed Bobby Portis for 2 years,
Oh,
7.5 million. And like
forgot about
that's like I like that, right? Like he's a young guy. He's played for dysfunctional franchises. He's been on 3 of them over the last couple of years. I think Milwaukee could be a good place for him. Plus, if you're the Bucks, every big guy has to be able to shoot the 3 ball, and he can.
Yeah, I like that move a lot. Like for who he is. I mean, I'm never gonna like love the Bobby Portis move, but solid addition for them at not a lot of money at all.
No, and he's a guy like maybe he could be better when playing for a decent team, right? That like could utilize his skills a little bit better. Or maybe he sucks. I don't know. I'm just saying like when you've only played for the Wizards, Bulls, and Knicks, like where's the growth going to come from?
Agreed.
We don't talk about player development enough, which is an underrated facet to sports.
For sure, definitely.
But back to the main point of this video. Why is Myers Leonard getting 20 million over 2 years?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, how many minutes did he even play in the bubble?
Like none. Although was he hurt?
I don't think so.
You're right. He wasn't hurt because he played those couple games like when Bam was out. I remember using him on showdown slates a couple times.
Yeah. Like, again, I know it's not eye for an eye, but like, how do you I'm trying to think of some comparisons right here. Like, why is he making twice as much as Avery Bradley in the same team? I don't understand it.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, for sure.
He's making more money than Rondo, who was just the 3rd best player on a championship team, for a team that's spending too much money on everybody. Making more money a year than Saric, a guy who actually plays. I'm so confused.
Well, I'll say this. I trust what Miami does.
So do I. But that doesn't mean I can't question one move. Like, I will definitely give me Jay Crowder 2 years, 20 million. Over Myers Leonard.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't disagree with you at all.
I mean, that pretty much covers all the main things we wanted to go through. I would have liked to have seen Milwaukee hold on to Sterling Brown, but whatever. It's not exactly going to make a big difference in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, you can't keep everyone.
Bismack Biyombo back on Charlotte. That's huge.
Massive.
Oh, so, okay. Overall, I mean, to me, the teams, let's just run through these guys real quickly. And you're right. It's probably a good thing that we left the members only NFL video till after we find out more about these Ravens.
Yeah, right.
So overall, I'll give Milwaukee like a B minus. You know what I mean? I think they got a little bit better, but nothing that's really going to crazily change things here.
For sure. I'm with you 100%.
Raptors got a little bit worse. I like, they got your Van Vliet guy back, but they missed Ibaka. They definitely didn't get better.
No Gasol. Here's the thing. They basically what they did, they re-signed Van Vliet, so that's staying the same. And then instead of Gasol and Ibaka, they signed Aaron Baines and they just signed Alex Len. I mean, that's a definite downgrade.
No doubt about it. Celtics losing Gordon Hayward, Tristan Thompson. Look, I like Gordon Hayward. He's better than Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson fits the need a little bit more. I think at best they were lateral.
They were lateral, but I could see them being better. Like, I don't think, yeah, exactly. Like, I don't think it doesn't change their landscape for me going into this year at all.
Yeah, and okay. Pacers, I mean, they didn't really make much moves of anything.
They didn't do anything.
Yeah, so they're a nothing. The Miami Heat lost Crowder, signed Avery Bradley, got Goran Dragic back, lost Derek Jones Jr., who cares? I mean, they stayed about the same.
Yeah, agreed. Stayed about the same.
76ers didn't do a ton, but we have to like what they did. I know you're big on getting rid of the Horford contract. That makes a lot of sense. And we both love the Curry addition. That, I think, is a huge help for them. I don't think people realize how good Seth Curry is.
Yeah, also got to like Doc Rivers and Daryl Morey now running the show there. Probably better than what they've had in the past. So, yeah.
They're a force to be reckoned with. All right, next up, Brooklyn Nets. I reserve right to talk about them after we figure out if James Harden is going there. I mean, I like the fit with Harris. He's paid too much. Other than that, they didn't really do a ton.
Like, assuming they get Harden, though, which is the assumption I guess we'll make, I like the additions of them getting Joe Harris, Bruce Brown, and Jeff Green. Like, those are all guys that I like. Like, and they don't need the ball, and they just are winners. You know, not necessarily they've won before in the NBA, but I like the cut of all their jibs.
Magic didn't do anything.
Nope.
The Charlotte Hornets, like, again, these two teams had, they were like right there, like flip-flopping. Obviously, there's a 10-game difference. Like, in a lot of ways, like, the Magic did better than the Hornets, though, because now it's just like, what are you doing, Charlotte? I know you don't really have an answer, but, like, I just don't have any clue what you're doing. Now it's like you're going to be just good enough not to get these good draft picks now.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes no sense. Wizards, hard to give them a real grade until we find out what's up with John Wall.
Yeah, for sure.
Bulls suck. No big deal there. The Knicks continue to do crap. The Pistons probably even got worse. I do think the Hawks and the Hornets are teams on the rise, at least as far as the Eastern Conference goes. And I definitely agree with something you said the other week that, like, I think the Orlando Magic probably don't end up in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I think the Hawks would actually be my favorite to be the 8 seed right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be tough for the Hornets to, like, push their way up there because the Nets are going to be better. I think Philly's going to be better. I mean, the team that you could see falling would be the Pacers, but I still think they're better than them.
Probably.
All right, and the Cavs didn't do much of anything.
They got JaVale McGee and Damian Dotson.
All right, championship. All right, in the West, again.
Kind of like what you just said about Charlotte, though. Like, we need our young players to develop. So, like, I know we didn't have a lot of money because of Drummond, but I'm glad that we're not signing these scrubs for a lot of money. Like, I want to see what we have in Sexton and Garland, you know?
Yeah, and tank for one more year, get out from underneath Andre Drummond, and then just kind of roll from there.
And hopefully our draft pick, Okoro, that we just took 5th overall, hits. You know what I mean? Like, you need one of these guys to hit.
Did you like him?
I like him. Yeah, I mean, he's a defense first guy, like, supposedly the best defender in the draft. We kind of need that with two smaller guards. I mean, at some point the Cavs got to take a step up, and I don't think they're going to do anything this year, but they need to take a step forward. I'm excited about it, if nothing else.
I'm going to go live on camera right here and make a bold prediction. The Oklahoma City Thunder will not be as good next year.
No, I agree.
All right, I like what the Lakers did. I thought they did some great ads. I thought the Clippers, I don't know, they stayed about the same. Nuggets didn't do much of anything.
No, they lost Grant. They lost Craig.
I think those guys are both replaceable.
Agreed.
Doesn't do much for
me.
me.
JaMychal Green, so, kind of a lateral move.
Yeah, and exactly. And Will Barton will be back. All right, next up, Rockets, still yet to be determined right there. The Thunder, I know you like the fact that they now have 198 first-round picks the next couple of years. Until we see who they get and how they develop, this is more like a process situation in Philadelphia.
Definitely. I will say, though, like, I definitely like what they're doing more than Charlotte.
Sure. That I mean, I can't argue with that because if your goal is to win a championship, I'd rather be yet to be determined than, like, no.
Yeah, exactly. For sure.
All right. Jazz just inked their boy Mitchell long-term, brought Jordan Clark. I think they'll be very similar to what they were last year. They got Derek Favors.
Maybe even a little bit better. Yeah, Favors, Bogdanovich back. They're a team on the up and up.
Yeah, I mean, I think they could be like the 3 or 4 seed next year, probably like the 4 seed.
Sure.
Based on the fact that we think the Rockets blow it up a little bit, I think they are the 4th best team in the West.
Mm-hmm.
All right. After that, Mavericks. They didn't do much of anything. They lost Curry. They didn't really get any kind of ads, though, did they?
They traded Curry for Josh Richardson.
So they got some defense, which, that could be one of those classic trades that's better for each team.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that they were trying to deal Curry so bad. Or not trying to Curry, that they would deal Curry because I think he's good and a shooter off the bench. But their superstar is an amazing shooter,
Yeah, they had tons of offense last year, too. They need defense. And Richardson plus defender comparison.
Yeah, I like Richardson for them. Like, he's a tough-nosed guy that can score a little bit, but he's a nice fit there.
Yeah, trades can be mutually beneficial. Yeah. It doesn't have to be one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Blazers. They brought Melo back. They're going to be healthier this year. It sounds like with Nurkic starting the season, didn't do much of anything.
Oh, yeah, I think they did. Covington.
Oh, I forgot all about the trade. Yeah, that's a nice upgrade for them.
It is
Blazers should be like the 5 or 6 seed.
Yeah, I think so too. Re-signing Melo, getting Covington. I thought they made one other move too that was going a little.
Rodney Hood, baby.
Oh yeah, I think that's an awful move. But I mean, listen, it's not an awful move. He's not getting a ton of money. I just think that money could have gone better elsewhere. I just think that the Covington move is a really good one for them.
And then it gets interesting down here. The West is going to be fun because, I mean, who in the West sucks? The Kings?
No, I don't think they suck.
Maybe if Bagley stays healthy too. But who's the worst team? Probably the Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, the Thunder.
Oh yeah, the Thunder will go way down here to be the worst team in the West. I already forgot about them because they're so far up there. I mean, the Suns should definitely compete for a playoff spot. I mean, we still have DeRozan and Aldridge here, but don't be surprised to see either one of them go end up somewhere else either.
For sure. I mean, I feel like the Suns have to make the playoffs at this point.
I feel like if you're the Spurs, I would be trying to get the last little bit of value that I could out of DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge, both as older players. They're both guys who are probably still good enough to help, but you're not going to get a ton for them. But I think after this season, you might get nothing for them.
I agree. And the West is interesting. Like the 3 bottom teams are all interesting. Like starting with New Orleans, they don't have Drew Holiday, but I like the additions of Steven Adams, Eric Bledsoe, a full year of Zion, Brandon Ingram. I mean, I think they could be good. No one's really talking about them now because they're not the shiny new toy anymore. Everyone was all over them with Zion, but now he's not the new thing anymore. So people aren't really talking about them. I also think Minnesota, based on talent alone, they should be in the playoffs. Now, they might not be because they've been like that for many years in the past, but between Towns, D'Angelo Russell, the number 1 pick in the draft, Anthony Edwards, re-signed Beasley. I mean, there's a lot of scoring, if nothing else, there. And then Golden State, man, and I'll let you speak on all these. I know Klay Thompson got hurt, but still got Steph Curry, one of the best players in the league. They had the number 2 pick in the draft. You got Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins. Not sure how they fit. I think maybe Max Kellerman talked about this. All of a sudden, Golden State has no shooting besides Curry.
Yeah, I mean, Oubre and Wiggins.
Oubre.
They're not terrible shooters, but you don't fear them from the outside. You do with Klay Thompson. So I think the Warriors will be interesting this year. I absolutely think they compete for a playoff spot, though.
Don't you think Oubre and Wiggins are very similar?
Yeah, kind of. Their game maybe a little bit, but Wiggins is more talented. It just doesn't come to fruition. I like the dog and Oubre a little bit more.
For sure, but the way they play, they basically do the same things.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, Spurs, you got no chance, man. Blow this up. Get whatever value you can. You got a couple of young guys. Lonnie Walker should start playing 30 minutes a game.
For sure. Dejounte Murray. We kind of skipped over Memphis, too. What do you think
Didn't
about?
Really make any changes, right?
No, but maybe that's a good thing. I'm real interested to see Morant second year,
Yeah, they got a lot of building yet to do. So I do think Memphis will fall out of the playoffs this year, though. I think some other teams will be on the rise. I think they'll be similar. But you're right. I put them in the same mold. There was nothing we were going to do to compete for a championship this year. So let's let our young guys grow. And maybe next year, something different. We can make a splash or something like that.
Yeah, maybe Morant makes the All-Star team this year and becomes that guy,
Definitely. I don't know what to make of the Pelicans. They still don't have any shooting.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with JJ Redick either.
Right? I mean, he's not getting any younger either. Bledsoe and Steven Adams, I like them as players, but let's not pretend like they're going to be lighting it up from three-point range. You already need to spread that floor. You didn't need to re-sign Favors. That's fine, but where's your shooting come from?
It's funny. I was reading an article about the trades, and the article made that point about no lack of three-point shooting and how Adams only has 1 career 3, and it said ironically it came against New Orleans blah blah blah. And I'm thinking to myself you are not really saying he has that 1 career 3 because it was a full court heave. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I knew you did. That's why you were giggling about it. But
God,
that
was terrible. That was awful.
Yeah, awful, right?
So, all right, man. Well, I got to go pick up my kids, but we thought we would touch on a few of these moves and just kind of talk basketball for a little bit. We're a month away, guys. NBA package up for sale. Send $60 to get into the half price deal we got going on via PayPal or Venmo. And we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Let's get it, guys.